Age of Reason podcast, where we are not for the faint of thought. This is AOR News with Mike and Alex. Today's day one. Officially, really, day one. The first official day of Trump in office.
Yeah.
We're still alive. We can give him that. I was talking to Nick about it earlier, and he said, the world's still here, so I guess we got that going for us.
I guess that's setting the bar pretty low.
That's what we.
It is day one.
Yeah.
So let's see. But yeah, it's been an interesting weekend, I guess. With the inauguration and all that. I was gonna say good stuff, but unfortunately, that's not really true here.
There was some good stuff. There was. Trump had an entire gender march against him all around the world. So, I mean, that's awesome. I was so happy to see that because I posted on the Age of Reason Facebook page that, Trump. There was like a picture basically of Trump uniting women, uniting LGBT, uniting Black Lives Matter, that sort of thing. And I put on there, this could be Trump, in a way, could be the best thing for America if we handle this correctly. If we, it may be, it's the wake up call we needed. I said, during the primaries when we all thought Trump was a joke, that I wanted him to make it far enough, like get the nomination and then get absolutely annihilated, which did not happen. In the general election, just so people can see how close we are. I had no idea how close we were, but I mean, this could be a good thing.
Yeah, I was talking to some friends over the weekend, friends I hadn't seen for a long time, and they were like, "Hey, man, what can we do? How we feel bad that all this stuff's going on. What are some steps that we can take?" And it was just interesting, people that these are pretty smart guys, and I've respected them a lot, but they've never really been interested in politics, and for them to kind of come like that, like, hey man, it's got to the point where we're willing to do whatever we got to do. I thought, like you said, it seems like an awakening, and hopefully we carry this momentum into the midterms in 2018 and the next big election in 2020.
And we're going to do our part. That's why we split our shows in half, just so we can have 1.5 hour that's completely dedicated to, Trump's resistance. But speaking of Trump, let's roll with the news. What's going on?
So on day one here, first thing we got, day one, the the website changed a little bit. The White House website. I said Spanish because the first noticeable change is they removed all Spanish content.
Yeah.
So first, all in English. The second thing, they also removed some pretty prominent pages. Climate change is no longer mentioned on the White House website. LGBT rights no longer mentioned. And civil rights in general, no longer mentioned. I had the pleasure of going to the new website and checking it out. And I had a saved version of Obama's website, so I was comparing. And just a quick, some of the top issues for Obama. Top issues: civil rights, climate change, economy, education, foreign policy, healthcare, Iran deal, things like that.
The terrible shit that he did to us over 8 years.
So now on the new website, and this is not a joke, right? So these are the top issues on the new website: America First energy plan, bringing back jobs and growth, making our military strong again, standing up for our law enforcement community, and trade deals working for all Americans. So it's right off the top. Showed, they got their web designers to work to make the website more Trumpian, and good job, you guys.
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
And we don't need a Spanish version on there. Everybody that speaks Spanish is illegal, so they shouldn't be reading they don't deserve to read our red, white, and blue website. Not in Trump. No, not in Trump's America. Not gonna happen. Ugh.
Yeah.
What do you think of this though? So, in regards to the one on there that said "bring jobs back" or whatever it was you said, or whatever it was the fucking idiots wrote. Um, he had a meeting over the weekend with about 15 CEOs, Elon Musk being one of them, and basically had a meeting with them and told them what's preventing you guys from creating jobs. Now, I think from what I've heard of this meeting, and I've heard different sources. I watched it on, the news talked about it today. I listened to it on NPR, and read an article on it. And they all pretty much say the same thing, that Trump sat with these business leaders for 2 hours and basically asked them what's preventing them from creating jobs. I didn't see anywhere where it says, why aren't you paying higher wages? Why don't you have competitive, comprehensive health care for your employees? Why aren't you putting together educational programs? None of that shit. Just, why aren't you creating more jobs? And the results of that meeting haven't been released yet. But, I mean, to me, like, that would be one of the that would be like the good part about having a businessman as a president, is that somebody does have those meetings. I think this was a good thing. But like I said, we haven't had a chance to scratch the surface yet. We haven't seen what else was discussed there. But overall, this sounds like good news. I would be happy if Obama was doing this, or if Bernie got in the office. I would just be happy. But if Bernie got in the office and did something like this, I would be rooting for it. I think it would be a great idea. Did you hear about this? What do you think about it?
To be honest, I did. I heard Elon Musk met with him. And some other CEOs. I didn't know it was in that context to find out what they can do or what he can do to create more jobs.
Right.
I mean, that sounds good. And I hate to say this, but all the bashing and stuff that we do on Trump, he does have one out of like 50 of the things he says is actually a good idea. And it's hard because some of that's like shadowed with like self-interest and stuff like that. But I mean, he did kind of run as a populist, so he has the potential to have these good ideas every once in a while.
Right.
I guess what happens at the end, we'll have to see. But
we're just really apprehensive about it, right? Like,
yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of reason to. You look at his nominees, right, in the cabinet. So
we'll get to
that. but I mean, that just shows, that's his opportunity right there to say, like, hey, I'm a man of the people. I'm hiring this guy to be in charge of labor, and instead, no, it's the guy from Carl's Jr. who, is against $15 an hour, says I'll pay robots to make your chicken before I have, pay you $15 an hour. So
yeah, I'm trying to be unbiased, and I'm trying to be objective about certain things, but I mean, I can't help but be very apprehensive about this. But like I said, so far on the surface, like, if this was anybody else doing this, I would be happy that they're doing that. And it looks like, and this is not this is not a conservative part of me at all, but I don't like the way it was phrased. It was phrased as, he asked these CEOs, what regulations are preventing you? And I'm kind of all about regulations when it comes to the employee. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That does, obviously, that one sentence right there.
Yeah.
Spins it a little bit more into reality.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not, what can I do, like you said, to make your employees more happier and efficient. It's, what regulations can I chop away to help you out? So we'll see. We'll definitely keep you updated on how this goes.
Yeah.
We do have a businessman in the office, so.
Yeah.
So, we have some an interesting story over the weekend here.
More interesting than what she was wearing at the inauguration.
Well, so actually, it's going to start with the new press secretary, Spicer, right?
Yeah, right.
So I listened on Saturday. He gave a impromptu conference. It wasn't. I think his first one was today.
Right.
I listened to a little bit today. I'll have to listen to the whole thing, but the one on Saturdays was made a big deal because he basically came out there to scold the press, and um, the press secretary job is one that I found interesting. I remember, listening to George Bush's trying to argue with the media and trying to, like level what his boss was doing and trying to make sense of it and explain it to people in actual English. And then,
I'm gonna have my speech, and then my press secretary is gonna get up here and do what we call a little damage control.
and Obama's, listening to Obama's, it was I found the job interesting, honestly.
I thought Jay
Uh,
Carney did a good job for Obama.
yeah, and I think it's interesting how they have to. I mean, they're in there as a kind of advisor, meeting with the president, and they're only allowed to say, I mean, certain to disclose so much to the public. So it's kind of like a limbo that I always enjoy. To me, it's fascinating.
Right.
Saturdays was not. Um,
Well, it was. I would say it's fascinating, but not in the way you would want it to be.
well, I mean, it was honestly, it was scary. Really, just the tone
Yep.
where he comes out and starts off by saying a reporter who tweeted something wrong. Now, I mean, the tweet was wrong. I guess somebody tweeted a picture or saying that one of Trump's first things was he removed Martin Luther King bust from the Oval Office.
Right.
And the Spicer guy called him out on there. I just think it's petty. I mean, obviously this is coming from Trump, so it's no surprise. But I just thought it was petty and odd for the press secretary of the president to like chide a reporter who was not even a big time reporter over a tweet.
Right.
It set the tone. So then he goes about um, talking about the inauguration, and he says, "Let me tell you the facts. This was the largest inauguration period. More people were here or watched it around the world than ever." Um, there were some pictures that came out. I don't know if you saw them. They're
Mm-hmm.
pretty widely, publicized,
Mm-hmm.
of Obama's inauguration versus Trump's inauguration. So one thing, the way he tried to explain it was that the magnetometers and all the security caused hundreds of thousands of people to not be able to get into that
Whatever.
picture. Now you would think if there's hundreds of thousands of people at magnetometers, there would be an overhead picture of them, and it would be a huge
They'd
picture
be
as,
saying,
as
"Look
well,
at
right?
look at all these great Americans that couldn't make it in." But we tightened up security more for Donald Trump than we did our first black president in 2000. No, sorry.
So there's that one. The next one was that this was the first time protective tarps were used, and that's why in Donald Trump's there's lots of white on the floor. Those are protective tarps, and he
I
was
saw a
saying
picture saying that was the KKK.
that I saw that
Might
too.
have been
That's-
tweeted by the same
I-
guy that lied about the Martin Luther King bust. But
I like that one. But yeah, um, so that was also proved false. There's plenty of pictures. This is the thing. I mean, these things are not like you got to do some hardcore investigation to figure it out. You just tweet like Obama inauguration pictures, and you see that there's white tarps as they're setting up and getting there. So another false thing, right? And um, that was pretty much it. Okay, so then the next day, Kellyanne Conway is on MSNBC, and the first thing that Chuck Todd is saying how Spicer is committing falsehoods.
mhm.
And this is a quote from Kellyanne Conway, and this one, same thing, right? It's honestly, when you think about our Constitution and our amendments, this is getting scary. She said to Chuck Todd, "If we're going to keep referring to our press secretary like this, we're going to have to rethink our relationship."
I'm sorry.
Like
I thought it was media and interviewee.
it's basically like, like, oh, we're just gonna have to. You're gonna be on the fake news. You're gonna get the fake news.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd be like,
title
I
here.
thought about it, and if I didn't have to be here, I'd never fucking look at you. You're a bad person.
And then she goes on to say, "You're saying it's a falsehood. Spicer gave alternative facts for that.
I still think she meant to say alt-right facts. I think it's I think she misspoke. I think it's an alt-right fact.
But let's just alternative facts, right? I mean, that's basically saying we're gonna make shit up, and we're in a position of power. We're gonna tell you that what we made up is true, and it's your job to, fight that.
And so when I heard this, I thought of, could there be such a thing as an alternative fact? And the only thing that I thought of, and this does not apply to her at all, this is not the way she was trying to use it. I was trying to think of, like, would an alternative fact be something that starts in a different place than something else but leads to the same deal? Like, I don't know. I was like, is this like 2 + 2 = 4 as a fact, but 3 + 1 also? Like, I was trying to justify this in my head to try to see what the hell it was that she's talking about, and I could not get through that fog of bullshit. You almost don't want to believe that people actually think Americans are this stupid. However, November 8th of last year kind of makes that very difficult.
I mean, the definition of a fact is a thing that is undisputably the case. So,
Like,
I mean,
Trump's a great businessman. That's a fact. Non-disputable.
so I mean, like when you think about it, honestly, right? It's easy to joke about and stuff, but I mean, seriously, when you think about what they're trying to do is discredit the media in general,
Yep.
and uh, I mean, empower stupid people, really.
Yep. That was my Mitch McConnell impression.
Alternative facts. So that's what we have to face now going
it's
forward.
Scary. It's scary, and we pointed this out. I think on the first episode about how you doing over there?
Good. Almost broke
Those
my
facts
chair.
almost threw you out of your chair. Um, we, the warning that you and I gave a few weeks ago, I think on the first episode of the year, about the direction that Trump is heading. Trump and his cabinet and even his supporters are heading. I find myself at a crossroads with it because the media fucking sucks. They need to be held accountable, and they helped lead to this outcome. But it's hard. It's hard because I almost want to, like, who is not okay to call fake news? We are not okay to call fake news. I'll say that. But, like, can we call Fox fake news? Because we can call Breitbart fake news.
But see, I mean,
where's that line?
It's I think when you have people and out there, reporters, right, and they're quoting. I mean, the word fake is something, because I wouldn't say Fox is fake news. I would say it's bullshit, right?
Slanted.
And it's I mean, definitely slanted, but it's not fake. They take a tenth of the truth and focus on that 1/10, and then that's the new big.
But sometimes it is fake news. Sometimes they get it wrong and they don't come back out. I mean, we called Fox News out quite a few times last year about times when they reported something or ran with a story, and when it came false, when it was proven false, and that was the fact, they never came back out and said anything. We talked about just a few hours away from me in Colorado Springs, when the guy, I forget his name, it doesn't really matter, but the guy that shot up at Planned Parenthood in Colorado Springs and was talking about selling baby parts. And, then we brought up the quote from Bill O'Reilly on, I think it was December of 2015, and I believe it was the San Bernardino shooting, when he said law enforcement's not releasing anything because they say something and they get it right. They say something, they get it wrong, it matters. If we say things and we get it wrong, it doesn't matter. And so, I mean, we've held them to task, not necessarily for reporting the wrong shit or reporting it the wrong way, because I understand, when you have breaking news, you're reporting the facts that are known to you at the time. There's a little bit of leeway there, but to not come back and say we fucked this up, here's the real story. There was also the one where they were showing the video of Syrian refugees during the refugee crisis when that first kicked off, chanting "Death to America" on a bus, and I believe they weren't even saying "Death to America." It was a fake translation, and it wasn't even Syrian refugees.
No. I mean, I'm not by any means saying.
Maybe I just wanted to go off on Fox News.
That's fair, right? And I'm not saying they're a Class A news organization, but I'm just saying, if you have a reporter from Fox News there, to dismiss them automatically as fake news, I think that's wrong, and right. I hate Fox as much as the next the next liberal, but you know what I mean? That's their job, right? And we have slant, there's Mother Jones on the left, and there's different, outlets on the left that slant the same way, but it's still their job is to investigate and do that. And when the president and his people impede on that, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge warning sign to me. But
I think for one, we can call shit fake news. I don't think the president or his cabinet should be doing that. When we call fake news, it's not dangerous. I don't think. When we take, and it's not that but it's not that the president doesn't have the right to take media to task on certain things, but even Obama showed so much restraint. But I mean, maybe that's a discussion for another time, but I'll move on. So a few other things about the inauguration is that there's really nothing to report other than the fact that Donald Trump was campaign Donald Trump. It was nothing but the same hate speech, doom and gloom rhetoric, pretty much. The big news story for me was watching Michelle Obama every time I had the opportunity, because her facial expressions were magnificent. They were awesome. I enjoyed watching I didn't enjoy it, but I love how she was not hiding herself whatsoever. And then there was the other part about watching Obama leave and fly off in that helicopter, which is the scene that I have had running in my head ever since November 8th that I have not wanted to watch. So anyway, Spicer said, most watched inauguration in history, which is bullshit. That comes to Reagan. The most attended would be Obama's from 2008. And it's funny, you talked about the photos. It's taken down now. But Donald Trump has two different Twitter accounts. He's got @RealDonaldTrump, which he said today that I think he's going to keep using. But he's also got POTUS. That's right. He now has @POTUS. And on the @POTUS account, I believe it was it was the @POTUS account, there was a picture of Trump speaking. It was taken from behind Trump, and then there's just the masses of people. And I confirmed this on 3 different sources just to make sure it's true. They photoshopped Obama's 2009 inauguration day into the background.
Or Trump into the
and Trump into Obama's spot. They stole the fucking picture. It's down now. If you go on his accounts, you can't find it. Now there's that picture that he took a few weeks ago of him pretending to sign something in a blank book with his family and his cabinet standing around him. But anyway, the inauguration was, they had great entertainment. Fuck you, 3 doors down. Anyway, moving on. Executive orders. So I wonder if Trump's on track to break the executive order record. He signed quite a few today. One of the first ones that he signed was the Mexico City policy. The repeal of the Mexico City policy. The repeal of the Mexico City policy basically eliminates any dollars given by the U.S. to non-governmental agencies or organizations that don't only perform abortion, but even educate people on abortion. And it doesn't even matter that U.S. dollars can't even be used for that already. It doesn't matter. So basically, he repealed what's called the Mexico City policy, or it's called the Global Gag for some reason. The Global Gag Order is what it was called before. This was enacted by Ronald Reagan in 1984, the Mexico City policy. Enacted by Reagan in 1984, repealed by Bill Clinton, then reinstated by George W. Bush. And basically, right now, we have 20 countries that we don't do business with. And it doesn't look like Obama ever reinstated it. But a gloomy fact here is that 47,000 women die a year on a global basis from unsafe abortion operations. So pretty much what we have right now, and that figure is quoted from a few sources, including Cosmopolitan, and nobody knows women better than them. Just ask my wife. Cosmopolitan basically says that right now we have 47,000 women, and that's because the law still stands as left by George Bush. Now, once we extend that, we're going to be adding to that 47,000 female deaths a year due to unsafe abortion operations. And right now, the United States is still the largest donor to global health programs in the world. We don't have time to get into this, but I did read during Spicer's first news conference today, he was asked about the DAPL, and Trump will proceed with that. Trump will proceed with the DAPL because he wants to maximize our resources, not our people. But it's not all good news for Donald Trump. Donald Trump does have let me get into this. He did officially repeal the TPP, which is good.
Yeah, like I said, 1 out of 50 ideas are not bad. He did that one. He also did one right away. His very first one was something that takes away a mortgage tax break.
FHA.
Yeah, of about $30 a month. So
he just put every lower middle class or even middle class just like a mortgage out of reach.
And I mean, to start off doing that, it just shows obviously
it ain't for you.
Yeah.
He's not here for you. And as Nick said, I like this new slogan for the year. Well, no shit. That's my new favorite saying this year. Anyway, so Trump did have a day one lawsuit start today. So basically, a dream team of lawyers known as CREW, the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, filed a federal lawsuit in the state of New York this morning, just today, against Trump for violating the emoluments clause of the Constitution. So what is the emoluments clause? The emoluments clause basically, this is in an effort to block Trump from receiving gifts from any foreign government without congressional approval. Basically, what this is about is Trump not putting his businesses in a blind trust, and we don't know that when he's negotiating, as he swears he's going to do, with these different countries, that he is acting in the people's best interest, much as he just did with the FHA, as we just discussed, or in his own personal interest, to benefit his businesses, which are still being ran by Beavis and Butthead. So that's what this lawsuit is about. But I mean, it's kind of like I said, it is a dream team, and because of all this, Trump will still not release his tax returns. So hope nobody was counting on that showing up. But this dream team, so the legal team filing this lawsuit includes Lawrence H. Tribe, a Harvard constitutional scholar, Newman L. Eisen, who worked for the Obama administration as an ethics lawyer, and Erwin Chemerinsky, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who is the dean of the law school at the University of California, Irvine. So there's other people involved in this too, but Tribe and Chemerinsky, literally, these guys wrote the book on constitutional law. And right now, where it's at is you cannot file a lawsuit against a president, at least with the emoluments clause, unless you can prove that somebody has been impacted. And it's called standing. So right now the lawyers need to prove that somebody is being impacted in order to get this into a federal court and actually proceed with the hearings. So all in all, what this leaves me with is everything that Trump's doing, filling his White House cabinet with, this is going to be like the closest I get to a compliment for Hillary Clinton, but filling his cabinet with Wall Street like Mnuchin and racists like Jeff Sessions and all these other people, and which is what everybody was afraid was going to happen if Hillary got inserted, which may be. Everybody wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to enter the White House. They didn't want her entering the White House under indictment or into court for any reason. So happy we don't have to worry about her emails.
Well, I think there's still, I imagine, I don't know if he settled. He must have settled all his lawsuits, or I thought he still had some. He carried some with him into office.
There was a lot of them.
So yeah, we'll have to check on that too.
3,500 lawsuits total, like since in his adult life. 3,500.
Good businessman.
Excellent. Bankruptcy like 6 times. Great businessman. So anyway, speaking of the cabinet, we did have a few things go down last week that, just in case you guys missed it, we want to play for you guys. Here's kind of a medley of Bernie Sanders and Al Franken just grilling the shit out of his cabinet appointments. Enjoy this.
Would you be so kind as to tell us how much money your family has contributed to the Republican Party over the years?
I wish I could give you that number. I don't know.
I have heard the number was $200 million. Does that sound in the ballpark?
That's possible.
Do you think if you were not a multi-billionaire, if your family has not made hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions to the Republican Party, that you would be sitting here today?
You ever managed or overseen a $1 trillion loan program?
I have not.
How about a $1 billion loan program?
I have not.
Okay, so no experience in managing a program like this. How do you plan to protect taxpayer dollars from waste, fraud, and abuse by colleges that take in millions of dollars in federal student aid?
Senator, if confirmed, I will certainly be very vigilant.
Yeah, I'm asking how. How are you going to do that? You said you're committed.
The individuals with whom I work in the department will ensure that federal monies are used properly and appropriately, and I will look forward to working with you.
So you're going to subcontract making sure that what happened with universities that cheat students doesn't happen anymore?
Governor, Senator, thank you so much for coming into my office. Did you enjoy meeting me?
I hope you were as much fun on that dais as you were on your couch.
Well,
May I rephrase that, sir?
please, please, please. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I like how Rick Perry propositioned.
There was that. I mean,
Al
that shouldn't
Franken.
have even been in the in that little montage, but we had to put it in there.
You're right. Yeah, that's good stuff. But I mean, really, when Bernie came out hitting the Devos lady pretty hard, would you be here? You know, if you weren't a billionaire, if your family hadn't donated multiple millions, I think valid question. And Al Franken also got her. I mean, he made her look like an idiot.
Yeah, she looked so lost and frightened. Trump came out in a conference the next day and said that she did a wonderful job.
Of course, but yeah. There's that. She tweeted. You know, she tweeted out a tweet full of errors.
Yeah, that's right.
About the inauguration. It's
that's what a private school will get you.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, we were gonna talk about it more, but we're pretty much out of time here. So,
and it's been covered. I mean, I don't want to regurgitate anything, but it's just Trump in that same press conference. I don't even know if it was a press conference. It looked like a dinner of some kind, where he mentioned that she did a fabulous job. He said he has the most talented cabinet staff in history.
And he has the highest IQ.
Oh, the highest IQ. That's what it was. What he does have the highest of is the highest paid cabinet in U.S. history.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
But hey,
the highest IQ. I mean,
but hey,
what kind of balls?
Skeeter, he's for you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you with mustard on your flannel shirt over there with no sleeves. He's here for you. Idiots. Anyway. Let's move. Let's actually go ahead and conclude the show. So make sure you guys tune in later this week for our Standing for Reason podcast. So check us out at the Age of Reason podcast page on Facebook, AOR_podcast on Twitter, and for everything else, AORpodcast.com. See you guys later.